Fellas, we finally got a weapon and gear trailer dropped here from Bungie on Witch Queen. If you have already seen this trailer, skip to the timestamp above. But if you have not, watch this right now.
What is the relic on Mars? The power to create your own weapons.
What y'all think? Y'all like it? First up, this will not be the first video we are making on this topic. We will do a deeper dive on all of this. But the main thing to take away from this trailer is a glimpse into weapon crafting. Now, we've seen some of these pieces before, especially here at 5 seconds and 6 seconds. We've seen that piece being found in other trailers where we're essentially assembling our glaive. But this is the first time we've been able to actually see us with our weapon crafting station. And essentially, that's the big selling point for Witch Queen here, is the ability to craft all of these weapons going forward, starting with this weapon right here. Now, this looks like a scout rifle, but notice right here, the ability to choose all of these perks, like we mentioned before with Weapons 3.0. Now, the question that we debated is, how far are we going to be able to go with weapon crafting? Are we actually going to be able to choose everything? And right here, it's showing, yes, the magazine perk, the masterwork, the barrel perks, and the 2 traits. Even though this is just a small clip, it speaks volumes to how much control we're going to have here in weapon crafting. Now, the question that comes up, similar to what we mentioned before, are we going to be able to keep just one weapon and have the selection here of all of these on the same weapon? Or are we just going to have to craft a new weapon depending on the activity or game type that we're going into? And if that's the case and we can craft multiple of the same weapon, well, that's going to be kind of an issue in regards to vault space. And I don't know about you guys, but I have hit the limit a long time ago. Either way it goes, this is not just the ability to choose the last 2 traits. This is the ability to choose everything. And then we actually get to see the scout rifle in action, performing its dragonfly AoE damage. Amazing. Now, moving on to some of the exotic weapons we got a glimpse of. Now, we did see a glimpse of this the other day. I know y'all probably saw the leak, but this is actually a slug launcher, which charges full auto missiles called Grand Overture. Oh, look at this thing. Fellas, Thunderlord is completely out of a job. I mean, it's been out of a job for a long time, but definitely out of a job right now, for sure. The thing about it being a slug launcher, though, is going to be its ability to land precision damage. Or at least that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking it may hit precision damage, even though it's firing these missiles. It's kind of crazy, all the activity that is happening here on the screen. How do you even see where you're shooting? Now, the next exotic we got to look at is the worm launcher called Parasite. Now, I love the look of this weapon. Look at that. The little hive glyphs on the side. Now, this weapon does exactly what it says it does. It launches an actual worm, a hive worm, which, by the way, detonates. This is kind of funny because y'all know, like, Xenophage has, like, the little bug inside. And we were like, oh, look at that, Xenophage bug. They even have one at Guardian Con where you could see the bug. This takes it a whole step further, right? You're literally launching this damn slug worm. Now, the next weapon is one we've seen multiple times, Osteostriga. Now, it states right here, swarming projectiles trigger a toxic burst. Now, mentioned before in the lore, or at least from what you guys are pulling from, a lot of people are speculating this is going to be actually created from like Savathun's bone or bones. Regardless, though, there's been some speculation that it's going to have a similar effect to that of Thorn. And when watching it fire right here, you can actually see that it does have a lot of similarities to Thorn in its animation and its look and the projectiles that it fires. And this is important because we have to ask ourselves, how would this actually synergize with things like Necrotic Grip? Will there be a similar effect? Then we move over to the glaives. We have the Titan Glaive, Edge of Action. This actually places a protective shield, that's right, from the glaive. An actual bubble is being launched from this glaive. Now, I have no idea if this actually has the same duration of a regular bubble. I would highly doubt it, and I would think it would be much weaker and even looks somewhat smaller, although not much. But amazing that this can actually be cast from your heavy weapon. It's like the glaive is being charged with our light abilities. Then we see the Solar Glaive, Edge of Intent. This is the Warlock Glaive, which can deploy a healing turret. Now, you see that healing turret right there? Very similar, like Boots of Assembly in a way, Lumina, kind of like that same thing. But similar to like Osteostriga, how is Edge of Intent going to synergize with Boots of Assembly or Lumina or a combination of all three? Unless, of course, the Warlock Glaive is an exotic, which I'm starting to think they are because these are pretty exotic considering what we're seeing from the abilities here. And then we see the Arc Glaive. This is the Hunter Glaive, Edge of Concurrence, which has Tracking Chain Lightning. Now, it shoots the ground and has actually like a Tempest Strike effect where it travels along the ground. But notice as soon as it makes contact, it straight up just doom marches itself around and kills all the enemies. So it's not just in the intended wave path of that arc attack, but instead it does a widespread AoE upon contact. Now, the next few shots actually shows what looks like some gauntlets. Maybe it's a new ornament for Ophidian aspects, but I don't think so. I think that has to be a new gauntlet, right? Probably something to synergize with Void. Also, it looks like we're getting an Iron Banner hand cannon, similar to like Reese Walker, and then a Vice SMG, it looks like, or it could just be a Vice 720, which is probably more likely. That's probably a Vice 720, and we actually get a look here of a Hunter helmet. Now, moving into the next part of the clip, so we get to see the actual chest piece of the Titan called Hoarfrost Z Chest, which states that Stasis Wall replaces your barricade. Now, interesting concept here, but essentially you can spawn a complete freaking wall. Now, the question is do you have to be on the Stasis subclass to actually do this? And I don't think you have to. You probably would want to, considering the synergy that you have with Stasis subclass fragments and aspects. But the point is, I love that it actually casted up on either side, these really tall walls, but there in the middle, it's open, right? Talk about completely closing off a cap zone. Then we see the Warlock throw a Stasis grenade, and two of them. These are Osmiomancy gloves, which gives us an additional Cold Snap grenade with enhanced seeking. Again, we talked about this in the past. Bungie has a way of coming in there and being like, yo, we're gonna nerf some abilities, but we're gonna make up for it in the future with either fragments, aspects, or in this case, an exotic. Then we actually see the Hunter's exotic here, which was that helmet. Blight Ranger helmet. Reflected projectiles deal increased damage. Now, I don't know exactly how much damage this is. It's gonna have to be substantial, right? Normally, exotics that lean into the super in this sense isn't an exotic that people like to use. Take Wizen's Vest, for instance, which increases like duration and such. Now, don't get me wrong, these exotics look cool, but I need to see some Void exotics, right? Are we gonna get some more exotics that synergize better with our Void 3.0 subclasses? Or is it just gonna rest solely on our fragments and aspects? Are the Void subclasses just gonna be so nasty all on their own that what we have currently in the game is enough? Either way it goes, what we've seen here in the trailer, the exotic weapons look extremely exotic. I'm intrigued, man. From the Slug Launcher to the Striga SMG to that Worm Launcher, all of this is looking pretty juicy so far. Well, fellas and ladies, again, good chance this is not our last video. We'll do a deeper dive just in case we missed anything. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and if you're new here, hang around, man. Hit the subscribe button. We're covering everything Destiny related, and we'll be covering every bit of news leading up to Witch Queen. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.